What is up? This is Silver Screen Savants, episode 11, and this is DJ Anubis' pick. This is Tango&Cash from 1989.
And
with the pause.
with a pause, exactly.
We have Jetta Gray and Vale joining us for this one.
What's up now? Yes.
Where do you want to start us with this one, Anubis? Because this
Sure. 1989 film features Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell as the buddy cops, but just don't always start out that way. But you also got Jack Palance, the mighty Jack Palance, the lovely Teri Hatcher, Breon James as Ponytail, very cool character, very good actor. James Hong, we've seen him in a lot of fucking action movies over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And also Clint Howard. I forgot about Slinky.
Yes.
Very funny. So I love Slinky. You love Clint Howard because we did Evil Speak not too long ago on Ghouls of Midnight, which he's also part of that. So buddy cop film, really fun. This is back in the era when you had stuff like Lethal Weapon and stuff like that, where you're just pitting buddy cops, and a lot of good movies were coming out of that. Basically, you have Tango&Cash, two of the best cops in LA, but they approach their arrests differently than the other. One is Sylvester, who's more clean cut and thinks that Rambo's a pussy. Then you have Tango&Cash, who's a bit roughneck, almost like if Snake Plissken was a cop. He's sort of like in that mold, very reckless and just kind of goes and says what he feels. Not very proper in a lot of ways. So I know that Alvin had not seen this. I know Walter had. There's no way that he did because he really wanted to be on this. So,
Right.
obviously. So yeah, I'm gonna before we dive into the story itself, Alvin. I remember you texted me and there said, "I only have one thing really to say about this film, and it's fucking awesome." So, give us a little bit more feelings about how you felt about this when you were watching it.
I felt like I'm on like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom roller coaster minecart ride. That's the one vibe I was getting. So from the start of the minecart chase to the epic jump sequence where they go off the rail to them going, it felt like I was on like a 007 movie. Also, that's the vibe. That's the first thing that came to mind. Also, alongside the Indiana Jones, like one of those like a spy-ish kind of movie where let's just use Tomorrow Never Dies as an example because it's buddy cop, it's cop, sorry, agent and agent, and they are teaming together against an evil organization, and that's the premise of Tomorrow Never Dies also.
Right. Yeah, I love how the film opens up and you're getting a first look at Ray Tango, and he's chasing this tanker truck, and eventually, from what I understand, even when I read in some of the trivia, the moment where he stops ahead of the tanker and gets out and points his gun at the tanker, that was actually borrowed from Jackie Chan's Police Story, believe it or not. But also, we get our first look at Ray Tango. He's got this like vest on. He's got his tie, glasses. Very cleaned up guy, good cop. So he gets his tanker pulled over, and he kind of fucks with these dudes that are, talking shit and not going along with the cocktail plan, as they say. So one of my favorite parts of it, this opening scene, of course, is when the other cops show up, and so they're looking in the tanker. Tango is saying, "Yeah, they're transporting drugs. Like that's what they're doing." Of course, I forget our other guy. I really love him, and I give me a minute because we see him in a lot of Jeffrey Lewis from a lot of horror films. So he plays the captain to Tango. So he's there, and they got these other like state troopers and stuff there, and they're checking the tanker, and they're only coming with like gas, like it's a tanker or whatever. So they're like talking shit to Tango. They're like, "Hey, hot shot, we ain't finding shit in this thing, there ain't no drugs here." And so one like gets in his face, and he like takes out his gun and shoots a hole in the bottom part of the tanker. So apparently they were sealing off part of it and keeping like the gas on top, so it looks like that they were transporting fuel, when instead they were actually still transporting cocaine, which starts pouring out of the hole. And that's when Tango's like, "Is it snowing?
Right?
Anybody want to get high?" But yeah, so Walter, I mean, how did you feel about the opening? Because I know for me, like, I think I saw this in theaters. I do think I saw this in theaters. I was a very, like, even though I don't go to many movies now as much as I used to, back in that day, in the age of 80s, I was always in theaters, always.
I was the same way. I mean, the theater was pretty much my home from home, because it was my go-to place to get away from reality and experience things that it's like, it's not unheard of, but it is like, okay, I'm having a little fun here. But with this film, I didn't know what to expect, because I've heard dire things, but I heard some pretty positive things, and I said, well, let me go check it out for myself. And I saw it in a theater. I think it was a Saturday night I saw it, and it was pretty much like I say, the opening is, just it's like, okay, it just starts out because when you see the logo of Warner Brothers, and then you hear the voiceover of Tango saying, okay, let's do it. And then this music just kind of jams it up, I'm just like, okay, where we're going. And then all of a sudden, bam, we're in this, highway with this truck and this helicopter flying over, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on here, So I didn't know what to expect. And I was telling Olvin, I was telling Olvin this. It's like this seems like almost the same road they used to film The Hitcher for some reason. I don't know why. It looks familiar, but I could be wrong though. But aside from that, but yeah, that moment where he does that to the guys from the truck, they eject out of the truck. That is borrowed, and that was something I did not know. I didn't realize that was borrowed from Police Story, And just to emphasize something else, there are 2 more scenes in Police Story that are done in other feature films along the way that does something that kind of does an homage to Police Story, but I won't name them right now because I figure like we'll get to that when we get there to discuss them. But yeah, the opening gives you that flavor of, you get that one-liners, those crazy puns, everything, and you're just like, okay, this is not your typical action picture. It's going to be pretty much straightforward comedy. It's going to be, some kind of innuendo. It's going to be all these things. It's like, okay, that's fine, but I'm having fun. And immediately you do see the antagonist, Jack Palance, good old Mr. Jack Palance with that boy. These guys are making me crazy. And, I'm just like Tango and Cash, Cash and Tango. I mean, that voice
if it's not Tango, it's Cash. If it's not Cash, it's Tango.
I mean, he's and the funny thing is, Ewan was saying, Olvin was saying that, he only recognizes Jack Palance from Tim Burton's Batman. I was like, dude, I know Jack Palance, and I'm pretty sure you yourself, Nubis, we've known him from like years of films beforehand, and it's just like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you remember him from Ripley's Believe It or Not, for sure, if you ever watched the show.
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
He played Dracula once, believe it or not.
Did he? I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
Did.
I would have known that. See, but that shows he's got range. He's got a lot of range, But no, this film, it lets you open with, and the funny thing is about this film, I had to add this little anecdote. This film had a lot of trouble in terms of production, in terms of filming, because this wasn't the original opening for this film. I don't know if you know this. It was not this opening. It was something else. But, I'm glad they stuck with this opening because it gives you the flavor of who Tango is. And then when it crosses over to who Cash is, you realize, like, okay, these are the yin and yang of the cop world.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay, and that's exactly what they are. They're different individuals, but they live on the same threshold of doing things that needs to be done. I mean, we know Tango is, like you say, clean cut, vibing, and he has a whole lot of money in his savings account.
Uh-huh.
But as he says, he likes to do this for action. He likes to do this for the thrill of it. But he still believes in justice and making sure that he does what has to be done. Cash, on the other hand, he's what he is. He's just who he is, He's just that kind of sly, charming rarity of, just like ambitious fun. But he knows that if he's got to get the job done, he's got to get the job done, but turn some heads up, and it's amazing, And like I say, when we see Cash, we see him just coming into to his apartment. He's coming to a apartment that looks kind of like what you expect from this character. It looks kind of, it's like, typical male individual, whatever, late 30s, whatever. And we think like, okay, that's going to be the end of that particular moment until all of a sudden, bam, somebody shoots him through the mirror. It's like, what the fuck? He's like, okay, what the hell? Something's going on here where he's getting shot. And it's like, and then we go on this amazing, trivial chase, and it's very unique because, and I gotta mention this too, this was not the original opening for Cash. This was not the original opening for him. It was the same character that shoots him, but it was a totally different opening for him. And
I think what's very interesting is apparently the original star of this film was supposed to be Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
But he obviously went and did Roadhouse, and I think he got hurt on that film, so he had to do Ghost next. So he wasn't able to do this. And then also, and if I ever got a chance to interview Kurt Russell, I'd ask him this: is like Kurt was actually up for playing Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon, but he turned it down. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if, in hindsight, he would be like regretting that choice because of how successful that franchise was. But either way. He said he borrowed some of the mannerisms that Riggs had for his character of Cash, which I can kind of see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you know, the funny thing, I'm going to say this real quick and let that go. It's funny that you mentioned, you know, him off the rope, which I did not know. That's kind of a brilliant anecdote there. The fact that both Kurt Russell and Mel Gibson got to work in a film together sometime later, you know, it's like, well, I mean, at least they got to kind of mesh up together. Like, here was a Riggs that was originally going to the Bay, or one of the Riggs, but the Riggs that was actually did play it, and they got to star in the film together, you know. And it's like, okay,
Tequila Sunrise.
Yeah, Tequila Sunrise, you know,
with
like
the lovely Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes, that's the thing, you know. And I guess, and I just want to throw that out there because it's funny how that's kind of funny how these things work in the Hollywood system. Like, one person was meant to do this, but someone else got the job, and maybe, you know, I mean, who knows? I mean, we never will know. I mean, we could that's another example of that multiversal thought process. Like, what if this person had been in this position, that part, or this person should have been in this part? Because, you know, the part of Murtaugh was supposed to be a white person, you know, but that's and I forget who was supposed to play it. But again, this is just something I'm just throwing off the top of my head. But further on, we get to introduce about these characters, and we see that this whole thing with them, especially with Cash, it's more of a setup to something more dire. Mm-hmm. To find out, you know. So, I mean, I can continue on, but I don't want to.
Go ahead, Alvin. Give us the lowdown of what's going to happen.
Oh, I was going to say something first. One thing I like is the chemistry that these two actors had together. It's one of those buddy cop movies. I haven't seen a lot of buddy cop movies, so I can't give my perspective if they're all like, you know, like how the chemistry with these two characters works, gels well together or not. Mm-hmm. But to me personally, I do love the chemistry that was involved with Stallone and Russell. I think it just goes well together.
And I'm just adding on to you, Owen, with that. It's funny that you say that because this is the thing I love about buddy cop films in general, or just people who do double takes where they have to work together. Some people have pure chemistry, good chemistry when they're on screen. Uh-huh. Now, to kind of give you an idea of this, the guys from Chips, the television show, Larry Wilcox and Eric Estrada, you see them perform. I guess this is how good actors they are. You see them on screen when they're performing together. They couldn't stand one another to save their life. They pretty much hated each other. They didn't like each other. Okay. That's an example of showing that maybe that's just good acting. But from what you see and hear, I don't think it's just acting. I think these two really, in my opinion, I think they really did have good chemistry. I think they really did like each other. And I think you said, Owen, that you don't know if you ever get into an interview with them. Do you think that was just them acting, or did they have really good chemistry together to begin with? Because I don't know. That's a good question, because I don't know. Looking at them, they seem like so, you know, playful. They seem so on point with one another, doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying. It's like, as I said again, the yin and yang and doing what they're doing together. And I don't know, because as I say, some people who have played off one another on screen, some of them hate each other. But others, they'd be like, "Oh man, we're having such a great time. We got to
It's
show it."
always hard to tell because we don't see behind the scenes. We don't know like how many takes it takes from. However, I think you can kind of guess by watching how they interact, like to how quick they are, of the like how much of stuff looks like it's ad-libbed. Like it's just really good acting. And so sure, we could sit there and second guess and say, well, maybe they did this like 5 times. Hey Tony, what's going on, brother? We could sit there and second guess and say maybe it took them 20 takes to do a particular scene, but I don't think that's the case. I think Walter has it right. I think they actually have a lot of great chemistry and they just feed off each other like that.
Also, when I was talking to Jedi Grand Vale when we were watching the movie, I said I would like a sequel to this movie, and I put together in my brain, I'm going, who would be the fit for Stallone? Because we know, sadly, his son died. Sage was his son, and after thinking about it for a long time, I put the name Pullman in my head as an option. And I'm thinking, Bill Pullman, wait a second. Bill Pullman has a son, and he's in the prime of his career. And I don't know why, but that name just jumps out to me like, hey, you could do Russell and Pullman together as a Bill Pullman's son who's in
So you think of Bill Pullman's son and Wyatt Russell?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's just it's like I've got a puzzle in my head and I'm trying to solve who do I want to see along with Wyatt Russell, because I would like to see I just don't know if Kurt Russell's around that age frame to do a second one or not.
Well, neither
yeah, neither not really there. But here's the other thing: is like when I look at Wyatt,
I see
he is a very good actor, but I don't think he doesn't really. And maybe he could prove me wrong, but he doesn't really act in the same way his dad does. His dad's always been kind of aloof and really kind of like crazy. And if you ever know Russell's life with Goldie Hawn, like they never got married, but they've been together for over 50 years. Like they've been a couple. They're both those actors between him and Goldie are very aloof. Like they do really crazy things. They're very comedic. Wyatt doesn't really give me that aspect. I mean, I love him as an actor. He's great as John Walker.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if he has those same kinds of things. Like, it depends on what you're trying to get out of the sequel. If it's going to be a more serious tone, okay. But I think what makes this one work, and of course, time has passed. Like, we don't get movies like this that much anymore.
No.
It's just a chemistry and a way that they don't have to worry about PC culture or anything. It could just be who they want to be and just go at it. And it's like, I don't know if it would really work with Wyatt. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I just don't know if it's the same vibe.
Yeah. That's kind of true because, like I say, some people have natural comedic, aspects of themselves, but now, as you say, not everyone can pull that off. I mean, they can be very dramatic, but they can also do the comedy pretty well too. But I don't. Yeah, that's why I say I'm like you, Nubis. I don't really know. I mean, if he would have to really show me something. I mean, I've seen him play in comedies before, but at the same time, it didn't really seem that. It seemed a little more forced because he was in 22 Jump Street. Was it 21? Yeah, 22 Jump Street, the sequel.
Yeah, both of them, yeah.
And the funny thing is, he's in there, and like I say, it's a comedic role, but it didn't seem natural. I didn't see that much of a thrust of him being really comedic, where I feel, I'm seeing him really giving off, a comedic vibe. It's like, it seems a little forced,
Mm-hmm. What was? Sorry, going back to what you said, Nubis. What did you say about the what was the question you asked me before about the plot and stuff?
Oh, well, just because we need to kind of give a breakdown to what's going on with the plot now. So we've got an assassin attempt on Cash, and we've got Tango arresting those guys from the tanker. So Jack Campbell, Yves Perret, he's got a plan now for these two guys.
Oh, okay.
So just go ahead and start explaining what his plan is.
So they plan. The plan is to frame them for murder.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they are informed of a drug deal, and they meet each other for the first time there. They discover a wire-taped corpse of an undercover FBI agent who suddenly additional FBI agents led by Agent Weiler, they arrive to arrest him for murder. So basically, just my perspective, they get Palance is setting them up for murder, a murder they did not commit.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that perspective of the film.
I had to say this real quick. Now the funny thing about this, let me see.
Was Wide in Night Swim?
I don't know. That's a good question. Was he nice?
Let me look that up.
See if Tony answers.
But no, the thing I want to point out real quick is that the simple fact is, you notice how quickly everyone, especially the media, jumps to saying that they believe that these two are dirty, and they're these shameful cops, that do something behind the law and everything. It's funny how this is this is what I say.
Yeah, why it was in Night Swim.
Why it was.
Okay, it was okay. But no, getting back to what I was saying though is that finish it off, is that this is way before social media was social media, and you see that these guys quickly, as like a heartbeat, they're framed.
All good,
but it's like the media. It's like we feel like they're dirty, they're this and all that stuff. Like, how is it that y'all jump on the bad side of these who these guys are when they've been doing such good things for the public, in the public eye, for this long? And it's like it's kind of funny how this movie came out in '89, way before how social media is now. If you like drop it's that so-called butterfly effect. If you damage something, it's like instantaneous. You are that real right there. Here. Mm-hmm. And true enough, this is a comedy. And I just mentioned that the script for this was supposed to be a little more darker, more serious in a sense, but it's more.
Yeah.
The simple fact is, if you look at it at that moment, it's weird how in that moment that they're put on trial, they're put up to this, they're getting charged, but it's like, you people have seen these guys do multiple things to bring down stuff, make buses, make arrests, do all these things to kind of, to protect the average person, and yet they get framed for one little thing. And when I say one little thing, it's a big thing, but they get framed for this. You immediately turn your backs on them. You turn on them just that quickly. It's kind of like, did they kind of foreshadow that this is the events we're going to see in future moments in the world today? It's just funny that way. I didn't think about it before. When I was watching it, I realized that's kind of funny how that is now, because I haven't watched this film in maybe 2 or 3 years, but watching it again yesterday with Olden, it's funny how they are really, pretty much put on that mindset of that they're dirty no matter what. I don't care what evidence is against them or for them. It's like that's what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like how Perez, like when he says he's going to take care of Tango&Cash, he's using the mice and the maze, and he's like, what you do is you just trap them, and then they keep them in a box.
And the way he just talks about,
Tony hasn't seen it since it first came out,
and it's like, it's like, oh my goodness, this dude is. You can tell this. I mean, I gotta give it to Mr. Palance though. He is such an amazing actor.
Yeah, I gotta give him his credits.
This scene here is such a revelation of knowing that this man is a little off his rocker, you know.
And we should talk about like when they get caught, arrested, because they're following leads given to them. They fall into the trap, and so they're there. They end up like pulling their guns on each other, and like you can hear the one line I really love from Stallone is like, "Oh yeah, I heard you're the second best cop in LA." He says, "Well, I heard that about you too." So their banter, because obviously it was almost like a competition who was the better cop.
Yeah.
Up to that point, but you could see also right away that they were going to be a good team together as well, because they were starting to, even though they handle things a little bit differently, Tango's a bit more reserved compared to Cash, but there is a moment later with Ponytail where I thought that was a nice good cop, bad cop moment.
Yes.
But so Perret, he's got this elaborate scheme. He gets them arrested. They're in the courtroom. They have a lot of tainted evidence that is working against them. So their lawyers are telling them, like, we need you guys to plead guilty and you'll get to go to like one of those nice prisons that you can play golf at and whatever. That's what they were promised. But I do like, again, in the courtroom, Tango's like talking to the judge, so I don't want the good cops to be marred or scarred by this shit that's going on with us, because they know they were set up. They don't want the good cops to be thrown into the fire. But Cash gets up and he's just like, this just fucking sucks. And then everybody's like, yeah.
I mean, that moment really solidifies Cash in a heartbeat, because it's like he knows this is all bullshit, but it's like, I'm going to speak up and say that no, this system is fucking us up, and we're like, we ain't gonna take it, So yeah, I love that moment.
But yeah, so they end up being they plead guilty and they get sent to like I think 18 months in jail, which is actually pretty good considering. But the idea, of course, is that they were never going to make it out, so they got shifted to a maximum security prison where everyone they've ever put away is waiting for them. But again, we get that cool moment where the same guy from that truck in the beginning of the movie, he's in the jail cell and he's screaming. He's like, so pissed. He says, bring him to me.
Yes.
So when they probably pass, he starts talking shit to Tango. And Tango's like, I don't remember. And then he goes, oh, yeah. And then he like pulls his head and slams it into the fucking bars. Right. He says, if you need me, I'll be down there.
Right.
Yeah. So
I love this comment right here from Tony.
Yes, he really is. I mean, he's a more actor. Yeah, right. And I don't know if you know this, Nubis. I'm pretty sure you do. The actor he does that to, he's very well known as far as character or from his jawline. Robert Zadar, he's it's a condition that he had. He's unfortunately he's rest in peace. He's no longer with us. But that jawline that you see, it's very distinguished from any other actor you see, a character actor we've seen in films before, because he's just that particular actor, And like I say, and he's very charming. I have to give him to him. He's very charming. He's very good as and his acting. He's been so
funny that you brought up about when Kurt and Mel Gibson worked on Tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally just read something like so crazy. So Kurt was out for the male lead in Bird on a Wire. That was a movie with Goldie Hawn.
Oh my God.
But he couldn't do it, so he turned over and said he suggested Mel Gibson take it. So Gibson did. Yeah. Okay. And I always liked because like at the time Goldie was still looking very sharp, and so like that one moment where Gibson's character is like going up the ladder with her, and he's looking up to skirts.
That's funny what Tony said.
Yeah, it could have.
Yeah, he could have played Juggernaut without the helmet, sure.
Right. But no, that's interesting. Then I guess it's like he knew Gibson is like, yeah. I mean, give it to him. I mean, that's like I can't be on there. I mean, I would like to be playing my other half, But that's I didn't know that either. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's funny how the Hollywood system works and how everything works off of one another. I like that. That's
see, I didn't even see when as soon as figured out who you were talking about, Jedi, about Zadar.
Yeah.
I go through it looking at his filmography. He was in the horror movie Maniac Cop.
Yes, that's him.
Sequels, and then Tango and Cash and Samurai Cop, which
that makes total sense with the Maniac Cop.
Yes, he was perfect in that.
So we've got these guys now in maximum prison, and of course we talked about Clint Howard, who's actually the bunkmate with Tango. And Tango, again, trying to read the paper. This is back before the internet, so we have the newspaper. He's reading the newspaper. Fucking Clint is slinky. He's like playing with a slink, and he's slamming. He's like, guys like me are crazy. We kill people. We're crazy. You don't want to mess with me.
Yeah.
And so later on, we noticed that he's like, Tango's like wrapped him up in his own slinky and tied him to the bed to stop him from like messing with the slinky anymore. But then both guys end up getting basically kidnapped from their cells and taken downstairs into one of the boiler rooms or something. Mm-hmm. And we get our introduction with Perret, who is introducing himself to Tango and Cash, like, you're the one who's been fucking up my shipments.
Yes.
Now, keep in mind, he wants these guys behind bars because he's got a big gun order coming in. So he's got a lot of arms. So he doesn't want it to get interrupted because it's going to be a big deal. But we got Ponytail there. We've got a lot of the inmates that hate these guys because they put them behind bars. And, they have them up in chains hanging. They're going to dump them into some water with electricity and stuff. So I do like the moment you talked about the guy with the big face.
Yeah.
So when he's there initially confronting him, talking, she's like, what are you gonna do now, Tango? And Tango's like, yeah, I hit him in the face. And Cat's like, you hit that face?
Yeah.
And that's when they start realizing they know what they're doing, how to get out of bad situations.
That's when that chemistry really starts to come into play and really gel. It's like, that's when he said, yeah. I mean, because I was having a bad day, like now, yeah. And they just I love that,
Yeah. And so, obviously, they're starting to be tortured, and it's actually kind of an interesting moment because there is almost like a sense of defeat with Cash when he's the first one to get tiptoed into the water.
Yeah.
And so Tango's like, Cash. He's like, it's all right, dude. Like, they're kind of just chalking up like they're fucked. They know they're fucked. Yeah. But then, like, everything gets interrupted because there's a warden or assistant warden who's friends with Cash shows up with some other security guards and police officers to break it up, so they don't get to kill him right then and there. I forget the guy's name that's the bigger assistant warden, but he's the one that's going to try to help them escape. He's like, you guys, huh?
So Kowalski.
Oh, okay.
Sokowski.
Yeah. So he knows they're not going to make it if they stay there. He can't like guarantee their safety, so he's going to try to get them out. But at this point, Tango's like, I don't want to leave. I know I have like 18 months I can handle myself. I don't want to jinx that, and get stuck here with more time. So Cash is going to go on his own. So if you want, Walter, you can take it from there about the escape.
It's because Cash, Tango pretty much is playing very safe. Like I said, remember, he is the more for the rules in terms of what he does, but Cash is more of an underdog in terms of like, dude, we need to survive. We know we've been screwed over. It's like, we got to get out of here because this is going to happen again, or it's going to constantly happen again. Eventually, we are going to die. So he tries to convince him to come break out with me and everything. And the Sachowski, sets him up in terms of, give him the tools to take these elaborate areas where to break out of, So he gets to the destination where it's these big revolving fans, because he said he's going to stop one of them, and you just go up this slide and get out of there. As he's about to get up this like kind of slant, or whatever you want to call this drainage area, here comes Chowski's corpse coming down the side, and you see that he's been cut from ear to ear. It's like, Oh man, it's like because this is the reason why Tango didn't want to go in the first, because he didn't trust Tatowski, because he figured like he was there. Because as you find out, there's a lot of dirty cops involved in the story. He's like, okay, what do I do now? And here comes the guys, here comes the guards coming in. Of course, Mr. Big Jaw, comes in there, and Tango closes the door. He's getting like, and all of a sudden the fan that was stopped starts turning. And it's like, well, okay, we just went from I'm fucked to I'm obliterated now, because he could get pretty much chopped up to the meat. So he figured like, okay, he's done for. He's just, it's over for him. This is the moment where it's like, okay, what's gonna happen? And not Cash, but Tango comes in there and stops the fan for a second, and Cash asks like, what are you doing? He said, Tango said, I got lonely, because he stops the blades and he tells like, I can't hold this all day, He's like, come on, let's get out of here, So they get to a certain point. It's like, dude, how could you have trusted Chelsea? He led you right into a trap, and he tells us like, he's dead. It's like,
It's right. Jedi?
What happened?
Hey, you froze up for a minute. You're back.
You froze for a minute.
What is okay? That was weird. I guess I got to get into the dark part.
All we see is you sitting in that chair right there, and it's like,
Yeah, for me, I thought like everyone was gone. I was like, why did it get quiet? What happened?
Yeah.
No,
right. Well, you know what? I think this is me. I think this is something saying, speed it up, dude. We got a certain time. They get to the roof where they're going to jump off the roof onto some wires to escape and slide down it, and it's raining and it's, sparks and everything. And here's a little tidbit. The simple fact that what Cash says is like, if you touch a wire and don't touch the ground, you won't get electrocuted. Believe it or not, that's actually true. If you ground with a live wire, you will get electrocuted. But fortunately, they're like, I say, like 20.
I like when he says that. He's like, right? He's trying to double check.
That's the thing. He's like, you say it. Like, you're not sure? So they, Cash does it first, so he can slide off and everything. Then Tango goes, but unfortunately, Mr. Jawline comes in and scrubs the mission right there. They have a good tangle, no pun intended.
No.
They have a good scruffle and everything, and like I say, they're near some live wires, and just as he's about to like do Tango in. Tango manages to unleash the chains on him, and he falls back into the wires, and he gets cooked.
He knocks him into a transformer.
Well, he turns into a transformer.
Yeah, but he gets knocked into one. Is what I'm saying.
Yes, but he manages to get off. He managed to get on the line and slide over. And this, like I say, the banter between these two is so I love it. It's so rich between them, because you heard when they was in the shower, but here they're still doing it even when they escape. Cash asks like, "What the hell did you do? Stop to get Danish?" It's like, and Tango just said, "I hate Danish," So,
I do like the early on when they were in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
The soap drops and Cash picks it up. Tango's like, whoa. He's like, don't flatter yourself, Pee-wee.
Yes. It's like, I don't know you that well. But it's brilliant. But that's the thing about it. That's what I say. And I think this is what Olin was saying. The chemistry between these two is so good, because not just for the movie, but I'm thinking for the behind the scenes when they were doing it, because it seems natural. It seems really natural. I know they're both pretty good actors, but I think there's a real endearing, performance in terms of they really had good chemistry on and off screen. Mm-hmm. So, but the banter is so good. It's just, terrific. But here's where they say they got to go their separate ways in order to find out what's going on. So Tango tells Cash, if you get caught up in saying, find a girl named what was her name? Kiki. Well, not
Catherine.
Kiki.
Catherine.
I'm sorry, Catherine. Yeah, Catherine. At the club, she's named Kiki. So if you do that, and find out and whatever. And Tango goes his way, you know. And like I say, everything is pretty much meshed up and everything, you know. So here's a moment where we come back to good old Perret, and he's been told by his two henchmen, you know, that we're and Mr. Wong. I mean, Mr. Wong is saying that we're dealing with two maniacs, you know, that can do something to us. I was like, they're the maniacs. But here's a moment where I feel that Perret's character, you know, he plays it so cool with what he does, but this is a moment where you see him lose his cool when Lopez character said, I say this, sir, and all that. I don't like it. That I insist. This is when I love how Palance does. He says, you know, he said, I insist. They don't insist. You know, it's like, and they and the two of them looking like.
Yeah. He was like, you ain't telling me what's going on. I know what's going on.
This, I'm just like, this was a moment where you realize, like, this is a very unhinged individual. I mean, yeah, he's pretty cool, he's pretty calm, but pushing too far, he's gonna like, don't go there. Don't put me in that corner, right? Okay? I mean,
oh,
what's up, sci-fi?
Entry.
Okay, yes, but you see that the Perret, he's not all who you think he is. You know, he think he's a calm, cool individual. You know, he can deal with anything, you know, that's thrown at him. But you see eventually that it's like, I'm losing it. It's like, yes, because when he turns off the television, you know, he takes that remote. He say, everything is under control. You know, it's like this shows right there that this character is starting to destabilize in a way, because he sees that the people that he framed are coming after him. And it's like, oh God, I got to do something about this. So move ahead, and we see that, is it Cash or Tango? No, it's Cash first. Cash goes to his friend. I forget what his name is.
Owen.
Elvin. Is Owen or
Owen?
That's right. Owen. I'm sorry.
Michael J. Pollard. Yeah.
Yes, very good actor there. I mean, he's a brilliant character actor also.
Are you guys holding out on me?
Yeah. Now, I told Olvin this yesterday when we was watching it. Olsen is literally the Q of this film, you know, because he's in this place where they do these experimental things, and you see this stuffed dog that they use for home protection. It's supposed to like shoot off and everything, because he's the one who gave him these gun boots, you know, special gun boots and everything. So it's not said if he's actually family, because later on in the film, Tango asks Cash, like, Owen's not family, is he? And he say, maybe. You know? Yeah. I don't know if he's family by blood or just by trade. We don't really know. But in that moment, as Tango Cash leaves, we see Tango catches up with a guy, one of the FBI guys who framed him, and he tells us like say, who set us up and everything. He say, it's a British guy, and it's like, you know, I know exactly who you're talking about. So he's about to take him in, but he pushes him out of the way. And I think even Owen said this. He kind of saved his life from this moment, because he pushed him. He's getting in his car and it blows up. Okay, so in a way he saved Tango's life inadvertently, you know, but he doesn't have nobody to take with him to, you know, prove his innocence or anything like that. So skip ahead, and Cash goes to the club where Catherine is, or Kiki, you know, that's his other. And we should mention this. This is Teri Hatcher, beautiful Teri Hatcher, and this is Tango's sister. This is his baby sister. This is where he goes to hang out find her because he might need some help because he's trying to get away from the cops because they're looking for him. And I should mention this too, real quick, before we go any further. I told you this is pure 80s cheese. You do have the eventual obligatory nude scene of memories in your face because you just have them. I mean, the film 80s was, especially at the late 80s, the turn of the late 80s, you will not go without seeing things in your face, and it's like, well, that's pure 80s cheese, but we see that he's in the club and the cops are starting to surround the place and everything, and he's got to get out of here, and he's trying to find Catherine, and Catherine finds him, and he has an idea to get out of there. I got to say, this has got to be one of Kurt Russell's probably most brilliant performance moments ever. Kiki goes to the bike, and he calls for Kurt, calls for cash. We see someone step out with legs and everything. Pan up. It's oh my God. This is Kurt Russell in drag, dude. I was like, good God.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I'm the same way with the scene. I'm the same exact way as you, Jedi. The same exact way.
Yes, this is a wonderful moment because look, Kurt Russell's got amazing range, but to pull off a mini skirt with high heels. But the thing about it is he's still got that 5 o'clock shadow. Regardless.
Yeah. The fact that cop was still trying to hit on him too.
That's the thing. That's the other thing. It's like this cop really is oblivious to this. He can't tell that's a guy, or just a guy in dress. It's like, no, he's because when he gets on the bike, he said, and they both of them throw the butts
the middle finger.
Yeah, he gives a middle finger. He even says to his captain, "Say, dykes on bikes, Captain." It's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that fuck, you're right. Like when they threw the cigarettes at him, like they both did at the same time. That was really good timing.
I like that. Yes.
Jedi pointed out something about the car that has the turbocharged thing in it, the Bond-like car.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew this, Anubis. If you heard the sound of the car, it sounds like the land speeder from Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, that's. The sound work, the quality of the car that they used with their, I guess it's a souped up car with weapons and stuff on it, because you can tell I'm picturing the car in my head right now, and it had guns on one side, guns on the other. I think it's just a souped up spy car.
Yeah, that's basically that, because remember, like I say, Owen is he's the Q branch of the world. That's what it is. And you see, as Cash said, it's like that is an RV from hell, But not to get too far. We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to
that. So go ahead. Let's get to Ponytail, the first meeting.
Yes. So past all the party, we get out. He gets out of the club. And they're back in the house. Blah blah blah. We pass all that stuff. The captain finds them, and he says, you got 24 hours to find and clear your names. And like say, we got to find Pony. He gave him the address of where Ponytail's living at. So they find where he lives at. Cash goes in there first, and for one, that looks like that place where he goes to, it doesn't look like it's a hotel. It looks like it's more like a train station for some reason. I don't know why. It looks like that. The exterior and everything. So they find him. They get him. You think Cash is done for, but then Tango comes behind him and said, "Shame. Don't you know Ponytails are out this season?" But so they take him to the roof, and this is, this. And when I first saw this, I was thinking, like, why are they getting so irate, about one another, But I so missed this. It went over my head, it just went over my head. They were playing the bad cop, or bad cop routine, and they strap a grenade to his mouth so they can get the information of where this lead guy that not Perret, but like I say, the lady guy with the ponytail was taking him. So when he told him like where it was, it's he said, "You fell for the oldest trick in the book." It's like good cop, worst cop. And this is another thing of banter between them. We say, "Did you sleep with my sister?" It's like, "Oh, yeah. I don't believe you." It's like,
hey, real quick. So you guys know a few months ago, there was a ship that ran into the Key Bridge, knocking it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not too long ago, a ship from Mexico just ran into the Brooklyn Bridge in New York.
When was this?
Like 10 minutes ago. Although it doesn't look like it collapsed the bridge, but there is video footage of it. Just throwing that out there for people interested.
Now, it's funny you bring this up, and I'll make this quick. I don't know if you've been seeing a lot of these AI versions of cruise ships running into bridges on Facebook. I don't know whose sick idea that is, but it's like I told someone on the chat last night that remember this cargo ship that ran into this bridge and knocked it, completely destroyed it. I was like, who would just blithely make stupid AI version of a ship?
Yeah, this looks like some sort of like sail, not really a sailboat, but like as a Navy ship, but it actually had like masts and stuff. It wasn't like a cruiser or a cargo ship. Yeah, so it might have been just somebody's drunk. I have no idea.
Okay.
Maybe too many Coronas. Who knows?
Damn.
But yeah, carry on about the good cop, bad cop.
No, but like I say, once they do that, they pretty much, still go into their banter of, about him sleeping with his sister and everything. It's like, and he tells me like, I was so completely drunk, I don't remember. But
and dude, like, because obviously after Cash and Catherine get back to her pad because that's where she's staying. Yeah. Tango comes in, but he hears them talking. So she's when Cash like fell off the wires, he kind of threw his back out a little bit. So she's on his back, like rubbing the disc to try to put it back in place.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie. I used to rub out to this scene because the way that fucking Hatcher makes it sound like is actually sex. That's the whole idea behind the scene. Is that she's like, "Oh my god, it's slipping in." I'm like, "Oh, I wish it was." But that's what sets off Tango, and he sees like somebody trying to come in. Yeah, so it's actually a sergeant. But that's why he makes that reference to Cash when they're interrogating Ponytails. Like, "Did you sleep with my sister?" It's like, I don't remember. I was drunk.
But the thing about that, it's such great banter, and I love it. And the funny thing is, you don't expect to see her character again. After they leave the house, and everything's like it's done. It's like she's in a safe place. We ain't got to think about it no more. So here comes the fun part. Well, not to say this picture hadn't been fun through all this time. Here comes as I call it, the little boy, wet dream moments right here, where we're introduced to this RV. And dude, I gotta say, this is one of the most badass, vehicles I've seen ever, because I said, as Tango's character says, this is a violent piece of art. It is so beautiful. I mean, look, if you don't get no kind of joygasm from looking at this, I mean, and not to say that the girls don't kind of get excited by seeing this, because I'm pretty sure some girls might like this also, but it is such a brilliant moment seeing them just like kind of doing the Homer Simpson moment where they go, oh, that's kind of what they're giving off vibe. But no, once they say they're going to take it to find Perret's base and do all, they tell Owen, it's like we're going to take it, who cares and all that stuff. He says, it's like, no, you can't take this. This is one of a kind. He's like, and Tango tells him, it's like, Owen, we will not put a scratch on it. Okay. Whenever you hear that, see, that's I'm pretty sure you both. I'm pretty sure you know Anubis, but I don't know about you, Oven. But back then, and pretty much still now, that's a staple of tropes where if you say a line that you say is not going to happen, somewhere along the line in the movie, that's where it's going to happen. So they take the van. They take the I don't know what you could call this thing. I can't say it. You can say truck. You can say van. Whatever it is. It's
a pretty.
They call it an armed RV.
Okay. So
yeah, but it doesn't. It's not like your atypical like RV. It's not like a
no.
It's more like a truck with like a cab on it, but it's decked out, as Olin pointed to earlier. It has like a Gatling gun on the side. It has fucking missiles it can shoot.
Yeah.
It's fucking sweet.
It's
turbo. I mean, it's got like some sort of turbo boost on that fucking shit.
It's got kind of like Knight Rider.
That's when you feel that the car feels like a cool key moment in this movie, and I like.
Well, it is.
I like how it's souped up. I like how. I don't know if we saw any of the effects in the car, like the turbo, or I can't remember if we did. But
I mean, we did see some effects of it. When you say effects, what you mean? Like what when they do the
like what capabilities the car had?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's able to jump, and like I say, it's got a lot of firepower to it. You know, that's the key thing. So, but to kind of get to the juicy part of this film. They arrive at his place, and what's that? Yeah, that's dude. Look at that. That's without the armament. You know, the guns and everything.
Yeah, right. Right about where the driver door is where underneath, or I would say, is where the Gatling gun was.
Yes,
and then on the other side, where the passenger side is, they have the other gun.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you noticed this, but where the passenger is, that little panel, that little black panel, that's actually access to some guns right there, where the passenger can shoot them by pressing a button, pressing a handle, kind of like a fighter pilot like staple there. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's a beautiful.
And then we had the turbo on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's a better.
Yeah, it's got
right
more.
Right where the door is where that Gatling gun.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'd fucking totally drive that.
I'd definitely drive that. Dude, come on.
I see, like, when Olin says it's got like a very James Bond vibe. This truck is sort of like that. It's got all these gizmos and stuff like that they use.
One thing also that Jedi he told me about the composer and stuff for this movie as well, and I like the music for this movie. The music for this movie flows really well. Also, it's kind of like a spy-ish action buddy cop style music.
Yes, I mean Harold Faltermeyer. He was known for this kind of genre of music, or at least I put it like this: his music helps flow in terms of giving that kind of vibe. I mean, if you need something that's not necessarily action, or at least has action but has that kind of demeanor of comedy, but a little bit of a sweetness of drama in there, he was the one.
Well, I mean, he did Beverly Hills Cop, Top Gun.
Top Gun Maverick was his latest work, actually.
The Running Man. So I mean, he was involved with some action films.
So he was very good at his craft, and as Olin said, he did Top Gun Maverick, and that was the last film I think he did, and I thought he was kind of retired actually from composing, but apparently they got him for that film there, and it's like cool, don't break the wheel if it ain't broke,
Right.
So, but yeah, we're coming up to the final. Dude, look, as I said before, this is a little boy's dream, and I gotta say, I was just gasping, just looking at the stuff. That
and you have to wonder, because I know that Mr. Jedi is going to be doing his top 10 explosion movies, so I have to see if this ends up on that list.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that, because when I saw some of the explosion in here, it's like, that's right, that was in that movie, that was in this movie here, you know. So you'll see, but
it makes you think. It makes you now think. Well, Mr. Jedi have to go back and re-edit.
Might have to. That's because I was doing my list earlier, and I said to myself, yeah, but then I said, wait a minute, that was in here. So I was like,
the interesting thing is all the stunts done in this sequence were all done one time. Because it was risky, so they just did it one time. So if they didn't get it right, that's it. But you saw like they had like a lot of monster truck type stuff. They had like tractors,
excavators, yes,
yeah, just a lot of different stuff going on, which makes this whole segment very awesome.
Once this scene coming up, I like this. And I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a second. The Hall of Mirrors. How?
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
I don't know whose turn it is. If it's
well, I mean, you could probably take it from there if you want to. I mean, because I can fill up the plate with what's going on here. But
go ahead, Alvin.
Okay, so they kill Requin. Is killed when Cash uses a real grenade. Requin was the ponytail guy, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did he say when he did it?
I can't. Oh shoot!
Because you remember the first time they met when they were on the roof, they put the grenade in his mouth, and so they were pretending they were going to blow his face
off. Dummy grenade.
It turned out to be dud. So then when it happens this time, Cash goes, "You think it's a dud?" And he kicks him down the stairwell. And that's when he blows up. So that's why he's a recall back to when they faked him out the first time.
Right.
So said Perrette has Kiki kidnapped, and there's a timer to trigger his hideout self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
He appears in a hall of mirrors holding Kiki at gunpoint. Both detectives pick out the correct parrot and shoot him point blank in the head.
Yes. And notice when they do this, Tango says kneecaps on 3.
Yeah.
But when they do this, they go to 2 and shoot him.
Yeah.
Okay.
They rescue Kiki and barely escape as the hideout explodes. Mm-hmm. And they get along, and basically Tango and Cash, they joke about Cash's desire to date Kiki as a newspaper headline announces. They're cleared of all charges, and they have returned to LAPD duty as heroes.
There you go.
And that's the close of the movie.
Exactly.
It's crazy how many people were up to play Cash.
Really?
You had guys like Michael Biehn. Mel Gibson, of course.
I can see Mel Gibson.
Liam Neeson. Gary Oldman. Bill Paxton. Ron Perlman. That would have been kind of funny. Bruce Willis. That probably would have worked out.
I can see Bruce Willis, yes.
And then you got guys like James Wood and Gary Oldman. I don't think that would have really worked out well because they're not really action type guys. But
no. See this. Again, I know that some people have better range than some others, but it's some people who just don't fit the persona of action.
Okay? Yeah.
And the funny thing is, or better yet, not just action, but comedy. Some people got good comedy flow when it comes to good timing, when it comes to doing that. Some of the names you just mentioned, most of them can't do that. Someone like Mel Gibson or Bruce Willis, they got excellent comedic timing. Okay, and I could see them doing that. But the other ones, it's like, I don't really see that. And then again, I can say this. I don't know what their limit of what they're able to do is, but to say that they're able to pull something like that off in that picture, I don't see it. I can't see it.
Yeah.
And I gotta mention too now. I mentioned before about there was alternate takes in this picture. This whole picture, believe it or not, was going to be longer than what it was. The movie is like an hour and 40 some minutes, but it was actually going to be a lot longer than that. It was going to be over 2 hours, believe it or not. And I don't know if you saw the trailer for this, Olden, or you knew this.
I'm sorry. I should say I watched the trailer before watching the movie.
Okay, well, it's a good thing because if you see the trailer, there are moments in that trailer that were originally filmed that were supposed to be in the final cut of the picture.
Yeah,
but you put it in the trailer though.
Yeah.
So it's mind-boggling how movies do this or Hollywood does this, because you mentioned something about Cobra.
Oh yeah. I mentioned something about maybe in the future and stuff. I don't know if Anubis has.
Well, just to get this out the way, Cobra, that originally was not supposed to be the running time. It was supposed to be like over 2 hours. Okay, but I'll leave it at that. And when we get to that, I'll hopefully I'm there and we can talk about it. But yeah, this picture was pretty much a clusterfuck of behind the scenes bullshit going on, and it wasn't. And the funny thing is, it wasn't between Stallone or someone else, because believe it or not, Stallone, with a little bit of, about say, with a DP or anything like that, that was his only crush. Well, who he wanted to do the film for. But like the writing, because he's a writer himself, he didn't have any interference with the writer or the writing and everything. But it was the director with the producers. It was something dealing with the writing and everything, because the original director on this got fired, and they had to hire somebody else.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems ahead of time. Like they said, they went over 20 million on the budget. But the funny thing is, like, their budget ended up being like $54 million, but they still scored like 120 million at the box office. So that did pretty well. The other thing is, just from a trivial standpoint, is that this was the last film in the 80s to be shown in theaters.
Yes.
Would this have coincided with Swayze's Black Dog at the time? Wasn't Black Dog around this time?
Black Dog came up in the mid-90s, I think, the mid-90s.
Okay, so a couple years after.
Yeah, because that's.
I was honestly wanted to see a Swayze and Stallone though.
Well, Swayze was supposed to be in this, and I think he probably would have played Cash, so that would have been something. But they also considered Schwarzenegger to play Cash. But that was sort of like a rumor that never really happened either.
I can't
there's
see
a
that
lot of connections, man. Like even, do you remember the character Church from The Expendables, played by Willis? That was supposed to go to Kurt Russell. Like Sylvester had actually offered that to Kurt first.
Oh, wow.
So that didn't happen either. So yeah, these guys are all kind of tight knit with their action heroism from their times of acting. So very cool stuff.
I'll say that's pretty cool. I mean, I like knowing that there's a connection like that. At least we could say there's not so many egotistical people out there. But I mean, we know how Hollywood works. So
yeah.
Review score.
Yeah.
My score of view. That's what you.
I said final thoughts and rating.
Oh, final thoughts.
Yeah.
As I said, well, look, Tango and Cash. Simply put, as I said before, this is pure guacamole. I mean, not guacamole. This is pure, Swiss cheese. This is pure, mozzarella. This is the biggest bunch of cheese that you'll ever want, and it's 80s cheese so well put together. I mean, as someone once said, cheese is good. That's exactly what this film is. I mean, it's not to be taken so seriously, even though the original concept was supposed to be more serious than what it is. But I like it for what it is because it's straightforward. It's no kind of mental message for you to do. It's all pure action, pure comedy, pure banter, and that's exactly what this picture is. And to me, I personally give it an 8. For what it is, because that's exactly what it is. It's definitely entertaining, and it doesn't hold back. It doesn't disappoint.
Do you want to go, Anubis?
Sure. Yeah. So as Walter put it, this is a very entertaining, cheesy buddy cop film, but it's still in the heyday of so many of the movies from the 80s. And to me, it still holds up. I still enjoy the comedy so much, even the self-reference with like the Rambo joke at the beginning, like Stallone just making fun of himself. Like I love shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's still a 10 out of 10 for me. I can watch this. It's one of the reasons why I own this fucking thing. I fucking love this film so much.
I love this. I fell in love with this movie when I was watching it. I get reminded so much of the classic James Bond stuff, the stuff that I hate to say it, sadly, just the newer stuff just doesn't rub that same way. The stuff, I get the vibe like the Sean Connery, the Roger Moore, the Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, it seems like, as much as I like the Daniel Craig stuff, it became too serious for its own good. I think in the back of the day, exactly. It was all about fun. Everything was about fun. And that's how this film is. This film is fun.
Yes, exactly. You hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head. This movie is made to be fun. It's a buddy cop. I love the chemistry. There's a lot of stunts in this movie that make it cool. I also wanted to point out, I like how Russell has a laser sight on his gun. I think that's a cool little touch that they gave for the movie that elevated this movie to cool perspectives. Because to me personally, I don't think Bond's had a laser sight much in the.
Well, this is probably a nod. I didn't see any trivia on it, but Walter probably agrees with me. This is probably a reference to Snake Plissken from Escape from New York with Kurt Russell, because he had a laser sight on that gun in that one. So this is probably a little bit of a play on that character, in my opinion, even though it is never mentioned, but it kind of reminds me of that.
But I have to go 10 out of 10 as well for this movie. I really enjoyed the chemistry, the buddy copness, the action, the comedy, the excitement. Just every moment to this movie felt like one chapter of like a mystery or a book or something that you're reading, and you want to explore it. It's like that next level excitement adventure that from episode 1, or like a TV show where it goes from episode 1, 2, 3, and beyond. Like it's one you want to binge watch through at the same time. So I go 10 out of 10 for me. Also, now, do we want to go through our upcoming content?
Sure.
We can.
Go ahead, Jedi. You're the guest. Go first.
Well, because I kind of mentioned it on my channel, but I'm going to be involved with something next week, and you kind of brought it up, Anubis, where I will be doing my top 10 movie explosions, the ones that I personally enjoy the most. And it's kind of funny when you mentioned about this film with the explosions in here. I might have to change one, because it's like there's an explosion in this one that I really feel stands out. And that's the thing about movie explosions. It just can't just be something blowing up. It's got to be something unique why it's blowing up.
Right.
So I feel like
the thing about that quarry scene is just so bonkers. There's so much going on, but I was wondering if it would appear on your list or not.
Yes, but no, but I will be doing that tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, but that Saturday afternoon, and it will be live. Won't be recording. It'll be live and going on. But that, and also I will be doing
you have
Memorial Day, where I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite visual effects houses, because it's turning 50, like I say. And like I say, it's gonna be kind of a perspective on it, because it's a studio that has been through thick and thin. It started out, with little grain of sand and blew up into this mega giant of what it is today. And when I mention it, it's Industrial Light and Magic. If you look at its roster of all the films it's done in the past, you'd be like, wow. I mean, it's still around after 50 years. Because some that's the thing. Some effects companies have come and some effects companies have gone, and this one still stands the test of time. So when I get there, I'll explain it. But that's what I have on the roster coming up.
I know you got more stuff that week after.
Yes. I think he was talking about something dealing with Son of Godzilla, which
I'll let you finish because
okay. Well, I was going to say, well, not just that, but the Bermuda Depths for Entertainment Headquarters. There's going to be on a Friday, and I think something that's Saturday after that is, I forget what it's for. No, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I believe. If I'm mistaken. Yes, that's a childhood favorite of mine. So I definitely will be attending that. But
we're trying to get Neko on that one.
Yes, but other than that, I don't. Other than that, I don't have anything. I mean, I got something else, but that's for next month. So I'll let that be waiting in the wing for right now.
Mm-hmm. You want to go, Anubis?
Sure. So obviously next week, Neko and I will be leaving for Maryland Death Fest. But when we get back, we'll certainly have a review of that for our time there with that. Before I go, I'm going to try to get my Peacemaker season 2 trailer reaction out because I love the first season. It was so much fun. The rest of this, some of this is scheduled, some's not, but I do want to give people an idea of stuff that's coming up. So the next Cinematic Synergy with Kevin Lambert and I will be 2006's Illusionist with Edward Norton. Then I mentioned it off screen with you guys about the Ghouls of Midnight with Taps. I forget what Tony's pick is. His is the one before mine, but I forget what movie he chose currently.
Is this in June? Or when?
Taps will be after MDF, so it's like a Wednesday.
Oh, 29th, maybe?
Yeah. The next Vintage Cult Cinema I have will be the Boondock Saints with the Professor Daniel Miller.
Okay.
I then need to schedule a Jedi here. The next Kaiju Spotlight, we'll be talking Gyra from the War of the Gargantuans.
Yes.
Yep. So I'll get with him when I can to schedule that one. We do Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, obviously, for Ulvin's pick for silver screens next time. But the one after that, and I'm willing to bet 100% that Jedi will want to be a part of this, because we're going to be reviewing Patrick Swayze, Next of Kin.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So we're going to go back again to the 80s and dive deep into another action film, which kind of gave you a little bit of insight on Patrick Swayze and his action hero status of that, as well as Liam Neeson in the early role.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll try to get stuff like my Species Spotlight with my Tarantula collection. I want to do the Costa Rican Stripe Me next. As you mentioned, the Kaiju Connections, the Bermuda Deaths, I pushed very hard for Kevin to do this one. I love this movie, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Action film Autopsy with Samurai and Rick Myers will be coming up towards the end of the month. And then I did reschedule my What If for the screen debut. It might be probably early June. Might do it on a Sunday, so it works better with other people who want to join in and talk about. My first topic will be Scream. So that's all the kind of stuff I've got in the works right now so far.
Okay.
So upcoming content, we don't have anything for this week per se, because we'll be doing a watch party though. None of the watch parties are live, but in case anybody's curious and they want to watch in the Sci-Fi Society group and stuff, we'll be doing in the chat and stuff that watch. We'll be doing a watch party for Son of Godzilla on the 22nd and then the week after we'll be covering Son of Godzilla review on Tokusatsu Action Fan. The 31st will be Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. My pick for episode 12 of Silver Screen Savants. I can't believe we're already in the double digits.
Catches up quick.
It's along pretty good. Then the week after, the week after, we are doing King Kong Escapes, I believe, is the one with Linda Miller in it.
Yes.
And the week after, I'm gonna try and message her, get in touch with her pretty soon, see if I can't get her on our channel, get an interview, like talk about the King Kong Escapes, because I'm just curious, I would want to know if she can provide a little bit of insight behind the scenes on that special movie that she's in.
I just a word of when I say caution, but just make sure that her schedule, because
that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, make sure her schedule is clear to do that. That's all. She's doing more stuff than I thought she would be doing nowadays, but she's doing a lot. So so she'll be able to do it.
And also, I am slowly working on the new show for Action Cart.
Action Cart. That's
Land.
No,
that'd be kind of cool. Action Cart.
No. Hold on.
Hold on.
Slay with Tunes and Anime, which should be out, and I wanted to get Anthony Jordan as a co-host on that show because he likes, per se, I don't know if he likes cartoons a lot, but I know he likes anime, so you got somebody that likes anime. I love anime as well. And with that show, I want to do like what we're doing with this show. I want to kind of introduce Anthony to a lot of cool cartoons and stuff that maybe he's never seen, might like. I'll just give a couple of examples. Like one is Thundar the Barbarian.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Great cartoon.
Yes. Another might be Space Ghost.
Oh God, dude, you're talking my language right there. Okay. If you said Herculoids, I definitely would have like, oh yes.
And maybe we can have you on some of those, to talk about all
that's my childhood. Yeah.
But that's all I have for upcoming content, and this has been episode 11 of the Silver Screen Savants. Savants will be back on the 31st, but before that, the 29th is the next time you will see me live on YouTube. Go like, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Even check out the Sci-Fi Society Collective YouTube channel where you will see all of our content on there. You can find all our channels on there. But This has been Silver Screen Savants, episode 11, and we will see you guys next time.
Yes. Peace.